How's it going, guys? Rhino here, and I'm bringing you my version of the responses to reasonable questions for anti-SJWs, which is kind of funny because none of the questions are reasonable, so I don't know why it's called a reasonable questions for anti-SJWs when there's not a reasonable question there, but you know, whatever. I want to preface this by saying that I'm going to be breaking this video up into 3 parts similar to The Amazing Atheist. I'm not doing it because I am trying to just make a bunch of 10-minute videos to make a bunch of money. TJ makes a living off of it. It's totally fine that he does that. I'm not bashing him at all. I'm doing it because I want to actually spend a little bit of time, a little bit of more time responding to every single one that I can respond to. Some of them might be shorter, but I don't want like a 2-hour-long video or something like that. And so this video will be a little bit longer, but this is part 1 of 3. So let's get right into this.
Are you able to understand the irony of responding to the perceived political correctness of the left with exasperated reactionary hypersensitivity of your own?
It's not perceived political correctness. It is legitimately verifiable political correctness and oversensitive political correctness of the regressive left. Let me specify that. And you will be hard-pressed to find me or any anti-feminist or anti-SJW YouTuber that actually responds to these claims in such a hypersensitive way that SJWs do it. It's more for comedic effect for a lot of YouTubers. Me personally, it's not. I don't do anything for comedic effect. I don't get extra angry, or I don't come out and just start yelling expletives or anything like that. I'm doing it because I legitimately feel emotion towards what you're saying. You are saying something that could really seriously harm society or our progression or anything like that, and you don't realize that, which is not only aggravating, but also could potentially affect me in the future. I mean, it very likely could, especially with what you guys espouse. But you will, once again, be hard-pressed to find any YouTuber, me especially, that acts in such a way that SJWs do.
What is it with you people and skulls?
How do you define right-wing? Anti-SJWs often have an aversion to being labelled as right-wing, yet they regularly defend the right and bash the left. Therefore, why is being labelled right-wing a bad thing to you? And if it's because right-wing is used as a pejorative, can you not see how labelling people as SJWs or regressives is also pejorative?
Labeling SJWs and regressives as SJWs and regressives is meant to be a pejorative. 100%, it is literally meant to be a pejorative. Most of the words we use to describe you are pejoratives intentionally. But as to the question that you really asked, I am against being labeled right-wing because I am not right-wing. I identify as purely independent. I am just down the middle on every issue. Essentially, I don't side with the side. I don't side with the side more often. That sounds kind of weird. But I look at each individual situation as its own situation and then evaluate it based on what I feel is the best possible scenario or the best possible outcome for society in that situation. I don't care if the Democrats support it, if the far left liberals support it, if the Republicans support it, or if the far right-wing conservatives support it. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is the exact issue. And actually, I would even say that I'm independent with a lean towards the left on most issues, as I am pro-legalization of all drugs. I'm against the drug war. I'm for legalizing all of it, regulating all of it, and just using that revenue to pay for more programs, etc. I'm also pro-choice. I am against the death penalty. I am just, you know, I have these left-wing tendencies sometimes, but I also have more right-wing tendencies, and I have more middle tendencies. Being an anti-feminist or an anti-SJW is not right-wing, left-wing, or in the middle, or anything like that. It is purely an issue of hearing a bad idea and opposing it. That's it. It's not about providing our own specific side. I would say men's rights activism, maybe you could say that's a little more right-wing. Typically, the men's rights activists that I hear of are more right-wing, but not always. However, I don't take it as an insult if you label me right-wing. I just say, I'm not right-wing. I'm not left-wing. I'm nothing.
Rather than telling people you disagree with to drink bleach, wouldn't it be more productive for you to have an actual conversation about the issues you feel matter? Or is it just easier to do the bleach thing?
most people that I get into a debate with or get in a back and forth with actually are the ones themselves that back out. We are the ones who want to share and discuss ideas, and oftentimes the regressives and the SJWs are the ones who want to back out and are close their ears, cover their ears, so you can't state your opposing opinion. They won't listen to opposing opinions. But I do want to say that I am entirely against telling someone to drink bleach. In fact, the only anti-SJW YouTubers that I know of that have even made a comment on this issue are ones who say, oh, I'm going to drink bleach, not you drink bleach. I do not espouse any form of suicide or killing or murder or anything like that. In the comments, it's not funny, especially because I have a friend who is incredibly suicidal, has attempted suicide multiple times, so those issues are close to me. And it just bothers me when people do these things, when people say kill yourself, when people say drink bleach, when people say hang yourself, when people say I'm going to kill you, anything like that, it fucks with me, and I don't do that at all. You will not find that in my videos at all.
You claim to be proponents of rational, logical, evidence-based argumentation. That's great. That's entirely laudable. But when I look at your online activity, when I look at, I don't know, for example, your Twitter feed, that's often not what I see. How do you reconcile this claim to be evidence-based and rational and logical against stuff like, oh, I was just trolling you, oh, I was just shitposting, or TLDR?
Let me start off by saying that this guy has an amazing accent. I love this guy's accent. I love listening. When I'm listening to this video, it pisses me off. There's a lot of stupidity in this video. But listening to this guy's voice is actually really cool. I like it. Awesome. Philip Moriarty. I've never heard of him, but I might go check out his channel and watch some of his videos, see what he has to say. But what he has to say here, yes, I am a skeptic. I'm a logical thinker. What I do is I need evidence to go forward on an issue. So if you make a claim, like let's say there will be a claim later on, which I think will be discussed in maybe part 2 or part 3, but they make a claim about systematic racism towards black people. Okay. Do you have any evidence of this? Well, until you have evidence, I can't believe your claim. It's not like I say, oh, there is none whatsoever. I'll just say, oh, there is no evidence of that, which is what is important. If you have no evidence of something, there's no reason to believe it, and I won't believe it. You will find this to be the case no matter where you look for me. My main Twitter, which has 100,000 followers, for my gaming channel, I mainly post, just things like, hey guys, it's just an update, or my videos, which, you'll be hard-pressed to find anything offensive there. But on my secondary Twitter, the one that is a lot smaller, you will not find anything of that sort. I still am incredibly logical, and I still am skeptical. I still follow the logical process of I need evidence in order to respond to an issue or to believe an issue and form a correct response. Otherwise, I just dismiss it. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Hitchens razor.
No, seriously? What is it with you people and skulls?
Are you aware that the ridiculous buzzwords you helped to popularize, like SJW and cuck and regressive, have all lost whatever meaning they once had and only serve now as catch-all insults and pejoratives to derail any meaningful conversation?
This is fucking fresh coming from an SJW talking about words losing their meaning. You know what words have no meaning to me nowadays that had a ton of meaning 10 years ago? Words like racism, sexism, bigotry, and even rape. They mean nothing to me now because they have no serious meaning at all. Sexism is literally anyone who disagrees with the regressive left. That is it. Now, the words we use, I've never called someone a cuck, and you're saying cuck has lost its meaning of watching someone fuck your wife or something like that. I think that's the generic meaning. I'm not sure. I saw it on Urban Dictionary once, but I'm sorry that we took away that meaning from you. But I don't use that word. However, the other words, they are meant to be pejoratives. Social justice warrior was originally created as a pejorative, as an insult, to show the craziness or to really put a label on the crazy part of feminism. I know plenty of feminists who are absolutely logical thinkers and aren't crazy like you guys, and that's why we label you SJWs. Now, actually, this is Michael Rowland. I actually don't know much about Michael Rowland and his views, so I can't really say he's one of the crazy ones, but since he is taking on this SJW role, I have to kind of assume he is. And then I have seen his videos where he talks about Bering's hypothetical situation where Bering, if you haven't seen this, I strongly suggest going checking out Bering's channel, where he basically made a response to a TEDx talk where this lady made this horrible hypothetical and said it was rape automatically. Bering responded by saying that the hypothetical was so generic that it wasn't necessarily rape. Michael Rowland and a couple others that were in this video responded to that claim and said that it's incredibly harmful he's saying that because his fans might go out and rape someone because they don't understand rape. But going back and forth, it's pretty hilarious because these people have absolutely no fucking clue what they're talking about when it comes to rape, and they're fucking pussies as well when it comes to these issues, because Bering was totally fine going into a talk with them and bringing an actual prosecutor or an ex-prosecutor, someone who was a prosecutor before, who would know a lot about this, but they backed out because I seriously think they know deep down that they're wrong. Plain and simple.
For the last time, what is it with you people and committing actual literal felonies? Like, you might want to work on that? I mean, I thought the Ralph retort was so rational when he was fantasizing about beating up women with dyed hair, but then he assaulted a police officer, and finally I was convinced.
Obviously, there's some satire here because he made a joke in the first one. Why do you guys like skulls? Seriously, why do you guys like skulls? Honestly, why do you guys commit felonies? It's a joke, and I understand that, but I'm going to respond to it like it's not. So here is the difference. He found a case of one person who committed a felony. The Ralph retort I actually know literally nothing about. I'm not going to comment on that. It very well might have been an anti-SJW who committed a felony in the name of SJW, or anti-SJWism, which isn't really a thing. I don't know. He was probably just someone who was fucked up. But the difference is something like Black Lives Matter. When Black Lives Matter, when there's these riots, it's not just one person doing something bad. It's a fuck ton of people. I mean, you watch these videos, there's literally people, as in multiple people going out and beating people up for being white. That's it. There's also people busting into windows of cars, busting into stores and stealing shit from black store owners, killing people, trying to burn reporters, etc. You see, the SJW side creates these mentalities. Like feminism creates this idea that all men are terrible. Whether you admit that or not, it does create that idea in people's heads. And Black Lives Matter creates these ideas that all white people are the demon, that we need to fight back against cops, and that we just need to essentially kill all white people. It has this us versus them mentality, and I created a video on why Black Lives Matter is problematic. I suggest watching that for my full views on the issue, but that is an actual harm if you want to talk about something. Try naming more than just one person doing something bad. One.
In videos and in the comment sections, anti-feminists often take up the most extreme or the weakest feminist position they can find, or they just straight up misrepresent what the feminist position is. Instead, why not take up the strongest, most robust feminist argument you can find and really challenge yourself?
The condescension here is real. Holy shit. Christy, that was some pretty entertaining shit right there. All right, so let's look at what you're saying. I hope you're not referencing your personal videos as these strong feminist arguments, because I have literally seen your videos be ripped apart. But let me actually answer your question. The reason why we attack these arguments is because they're the most prominent ones. They're the ones we see the most, whether it's videos that get the most views, whether it's people protesting. I'm on a college campus I'm about 10 minutes from a college campus, whether it's people protesting on college campuses and shit. It's the ideas that stand out the most that we respond to. And it's the ideas that also cause the most harm. I am an anti-feminist and anti-SJW because of what feminism has become, not what feminism stands for. Feminism stands for equality, supposedly. That's what they're supposed to stand for. They don't really do in their actions, but that's what they're supposed to stand for. So some feminist arguments I agree with. I am pro-choice. That is kind of, I mean, I see feminists usually taking up that issue. That's an issue where I would agree with you on. So if you made an argument for, hey, here's a video about why pro-choice is the right choice and how feminism can help solve it, cool. I'm not going to oppose that. I'm not going to respond to that video unless you bring in some bullshit about the patriarchy or something like that. We respond to the most prominent arguments. not the weakest arguments. And they are weak arguments. I just haven't heard any good feminist arguments, honestly. And it's not necessarily, once again, that I would just straight oppose the argument because it's from a feminist. I would oppose it if it's harmful, if it contains things like rape culture or patriarchy or fighting a mythical wage gap, anything like that. I will stand against it.
I am deeply concerned with male addiction rates, suicide rates, and abuse rates because I have worked with these issues in the quote-unquote real world. Would you be willing as anti-feminists to put aside your differences with feminists for the greater good of addressing these issues, especially as the kind of solutions needed are not necessarily gendered? And if so, I would actually like you to let me know, because I'm not fucking around or presenting any gotchas here. I actually really think that we could get something done if we work together. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this, Chrisiosity. Did you come out and publicly vocalize your displeasure for the people, these hardcore feminists that protested the college campus, I can't remember which college campus it was, that had a men's meeting or whatever to talk about male suicide rates? They protested that. Did you come out against that? Because this is part of the activism that you espouse. You are a part of this activism. You say you are for male suicide rates. Or for male addiction, not for male suicide rates. That sounds horrible, like you want males to commit suicide. You are for finding the solutions to these problems. Okay, come out against these people. I cannot stand a movement, and yes, it's a movement, that literally doesn't completely bash and admonish these horrible behaviors by these feminists when they protest things that are meant to help men with their problem. They literally view the world as if men have no problems whatsoever, which you clearly know they don't. Now, as to your actual question, I absolutely would. I absolutely fucking would. This is my channel. Comment down below. Add me on Skype. Whatever. I'm fine talking about it and getting these issues straight. But, once again, you cannot bring patriarchy into this. You cannot bring rape culture into this. You cannot bring, honestly, feminism into this. This is not necessarily a gendered issue like you say to fix it. But it doesn't need feminism. It needs a solution in general. So you can't bring feminist rhetoric into it. Otherwise, I will absolutely come out against you. I will say this is a harmful idea, anything like that. And please come out against these harmful fucking feminists that oppose solving these issues you supposedly are so invested in.
What is third wave feminism? Because I've often heard you folks insist that you have no objection to feminism in general. It's specifically third wave feminism that you have a quarrel with. So what is third wave feminism specifically? And what specifically about third wave feminism do you have such a problem with?
So everyone knows that Steve Shives is a pussy. He hides behind his computer, blocking everybody, and he just won't listen to opposing arguments. And this question literally shows that. He asks what third wave feminism is. Have you ever, Steve, I mean, you're not watching this video because you're not going to watch any opposing argument, but have you ever actually watched a video of an anti-feminist? Because they have literally, I mean, it's clear what third wave feminism is if you've actually watched their arguments, because it's abundantly clear how they define it. But essentially, third wave feminism is what the current wave of feminism is. The way we define the waves of feminism is when there's a huge issue that they attack. Sorry for bumping the mic. Didn't mean to do that. So they come at an issue, and that's the wave of feminism. This third wave of feminism isn't like that. It's just a group of people bitching and moaning about nothing, about the patriarchy, about rape culture, these things, the wage gap, these things that don't exist, that literally just don't exist. They bitch about manspreading and shit like that. That, for Steve, is third wave feminism. That is an issue. That is what we come out against. Now, I think it's hilarious that you are on here, and I actually want to address Steve Shives real quick, or at least kind of Christy Winters. So Christy Winters posted this on her channel, and if you go to the actual video, there's a shit ton of comments about Steve Shives being a pussy and blocking people, and she responds, she comes out to defend him because he's too much of a pussy to come on the video and defend himself. She literally has to defend him. But she says that it's because of the harassment he receives. What Steve defines as harassment is opposing opinions, opposing views. He is a fucking coward. He literally cannot accept that people have opposing views to him and that it's possible that he's wrong. I mean, the thing that I love is the first video I ever saw that had Steve Shives in it was, I believe, Armored Skeptic was responding to a video of his. And he included this clip where Steve Shives is talking to his girlfriend or wife or whatever. I'm going to say girlfriend. I apologize if it's his actual wife. His girlfriend's sitting next to him, and they're talking about feminism. And the look in his eyes when he says something, he's an approval whore. He's begging for his girlfriend's approval. That, I guarantee, is why he does this. He's terrified of his girlfriend, and he's terrified of being rejected by his girlfriend. You can literally just see it in his fucking eyes. He's a coward. As much as the word cuck could ever apply, it would apply to Steve Shives, because I could literally see his girlfriend being like, you know what, Steve, I want to fuck a different guy today. And he'd be like, okay, that's fine. Feminism, power, you guys should be able to fuck whoever you want. Yeah, you know, I would see him doing that. I know this is kind of an ad hominem attack, but he's a fucking coward. A lot of people say people white knight or do what Steve Shives does to get laid. Steve Shives doesn't do it to get laid. He does it because he's scared of his girlfriend. He does it because he's terrified of his girlfriend. And maybe to continue getting laid. Maybe he's afraid if she breaks up with him that he'll never get laid again. I don't know. I'm not really going to get into that because I don't really care about that. But that's about it for part 1 of this series. I'm going to work on and upload part 2 and 3 over the next week or two. I'm going to do these individually to kind of allow for more thought processes to go in between, so there maybe will be progressive thought between part 1, part 2, and part 3. And I don't think I left anything out that connects to other parts of other questions, so we'll get to those when we get to those, and I apologize for the delay in this. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is always in the description below, and as always, have a nice day.